For my next guest, the news that he was slowly going blind was very much a bolt right out of the blue. It was even more devastating because he uses his eyesight to build intricate model ships. And now he's going on a courageous journey to tell people about glaucoma. So please welcome Rolf Kaiser and spokesman for the Royal Australian College of Ophthalmologists, Dr. Ivan Goldberg. Please welcome them both. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. Rolf, how did you find out that you had glaucoma?
Well, I've been wearing spectacles for a long time, and we were preparing a trip over to Western Australia about 5 months ago. And to be on the safe side, I just wanted to get a new pair of spectacles done. And I walked into my optometrist, and after examination, he made a simple test, and he was telling me I should see a specialist straight off. After further tests, I was told I have glaucoma. My first question was, what is glaucoma?
What's glaucoma, yes.
And it was explained to me in detail, and quite honestly, it scared the wits out of me.
The detail was that you will go blind.
Well, the strong possibility is there.
How old are you now?
47.
You'd had eye trouble because of the glasses, but you had no inkling that...
No inkling whatsoever. I've been wearing glasses for over 27 years, you know.
Well, Dr. Goldberg, what is glaucoma?
Glaucoma is a name given to a group of eye diseases which have the common hallmark of an elevated ocular pressure that damages the optic nerve. I have a diagram that might make it easier to explain. We have an eyeball cut in half, looking upwards, the window of the eye, the cornea, the iris, the coloured part right behind it, with a pupil in the centre, which is the aperture through which the light travels, the focusing lens, and at the back, the retina, like the film in a camera, which actually processes the light image and transmits it back to the brain. This is where the damage occurs from glaucoma in the optic nerve. But the trouble starts at the front, because in the front you have a pump that pumps fluid from the blood into the eye. That fluid circulates around inside the eye, performing a number of important functions, and then drains out through a very special drain, which I think is best shown in this diagram. Here, this is a close-up of the front of the eye, the pump, the fluid draining through the eye, through this mesh sponge into a little vascular channel that leads back to the blood supply. The trouble begins in the drain. For reasons that we don't understand, this drain malfunctions. By malfunctioning, it increases the resistance of flow through the system, and the pressure in the whole eyeball builds up. And it's that pressure which damages the optic nerve at the back of the eye, which is the essential link between the eye and the brain.
How many Australians? We asked Rolf his age, of course, and once you reach 40, you start to come into the danger period, do you?
Yes, the older you are, the more likely you are to develop elevated pressure and damage, but glaucoma is a disease that can affect any age group. The danger with it is that it is a disease which has no symptoms. It doesn't produce any warning signs, generally, to the patient. Some kinds of glaucoma do, but the majority of glaucoma patients, like Rolf, have no problems, or very few problems.
Is it like cancer in the sense that if you get it early enough, you have a good chance of remission?
The earlier it's detected, the more effective our treatment can be. Once the damage to the optic nerve occurs, it cannot be reversed. But we can, with appropriate treatment, bring the pressure down and halt that disease progress.
Is it simple to identify for an expert?
If you see an ophthalmologist and have your eyes checked, it should be looked for routinely, and it is, yes, simple to identify.
So you would, if Rolf had walked in X number of years ago, you would have seen the start of the problem, would you?
Presumably, it would have been something which would have shown up in one form or another and would have allowed identification and appropriate treatment. The danger is that it's one of the three major causes of blindness in Australia for people over the age of 55, and it's a completely, or almost completely, preventable cause of blindness if it's picked up early enough.
Does it affect, you talked about the pressure, does it affect one eye or does it affect both eyes?
Usually both, but it can affect in some individuals one eye.
Is it a spin-off then? The fact it affects both, but it starts in one and then spills over to the other, is that?
It's not a disease that spreads like an infection. It's not caused by bacteria. As far as our understanding is, it's an inherited problem in the way the drain functions, and it's a problem which becomes more easily identifiable as it causes damage with increasing years. It's as if both eyes have been affected structurally in an inherited form, and one manifests the disease at a slightly earlier age than the other.
Yes, I see. Well, Rolf, what treatment have you had since you were diagnosed?
Excuse me. Since I was diagnosed, I had eye drops, I was on a period of 3 months on that, on my trip over to Western Australia and back. And on my way back, I was found out the eye drops did not help anymore. So I was sent to Melbourne, and I had laser treatment done, where they put a laser beam, 67 holes, into the eye to release the pressure. Unfortunately, that didn't help either anymore. So about 4 weeks ago, I had an operation done where they constructed a new dye channel on the top of the eye. And unfortunately, so far, it hasn't helped either.
Are you progressively losing your sight?
Yes, I have the feeling now that progressively I'm going.
But can you, I mean, can you see it happening, Rolf? Or
Yes,
are
I actually
people telling
can.
you?
I actually can. Perhaps that might be a subject because I am aware of it now.
Yes.
I'm not so sure about that. But I have definitely the feeling I get pain now and, you know, irritated and the drops, unfortunately. There's still a lot of side effects.
Did you have, you mentioned the pain, I presume from what the doctor said that you didn't have the pain at first, so there was no warning sign at all?
No, no. Once in a while, because I put it towards building my ships, I got tired and I was rubbing my eyes, but no symptoms.
Yes, well, I mean, you build these magnificent ships. I mean, how long would something like that, would Captain Cook's Endeavour, how long would that have taken you? It's fine work, isn't it?
Yes, thank you. I used to build a ship like that in about 90 hours. You know, you can't pinpoint by the hour. But now I realize it takes longer and longer because I need longer rest periods in between my work. You know?
Yes, and the other two?
Well, that's a typical Spanish galleon like they were about 500 years ago. It's, I use my poetic license there a bit. And that is a replica, the little one of Christopher Columbus, the Santa Maria.
Santa Maria, yes, beautiful, beautiful. And you're going to take them around on a tour now to try and highlight the problems?
I decided to do something about the problem because I found out that only perhaps 1 in 20 Australians know or ever heard about glaucoma. And there's a lot of confusion going on. So off the cuff, I decided to use the publicity I get with my model trips to make an awareness campaign. And I intend, in about 5 to 6 months, to travel by car and caravan right around Australia, stopping at every township and show my ships, give an exhibition, and in the same time make an awareness campaign, let people know about the disease and how it can be prevented and how it can be treated and so on. And I must say I was amazed on Friday. I had a meeting with the Commonwealth Bank head office and I got the full support of the Commonwealth Bank right around Australia and also the Westfield shopping centres. So when I will make my trip, I will appear either Commonwealth Banks or the Westfield shopping centres right around Australia.
And when do you start?
Well, I've been hoping in end of February, early March to start my trip because time is the essence.
It is indeed. All right. Well, if people around the country see you in those shopping centres, they will know what it's about.
I hope so.
From this one, Doctor. Just before we go, I mean, there is talk of a self-help foundation for glaucoma.
One of the things that strikes one about England and Western Europe and the United States, which we in Australia don't have specifically for glaucoma, is a foundation which promotes community awareness of this disease, which is a major scourge, and yet which is a preventable one in the main, to promote awareness and understanding amongst the families of patients with glaucoma and to support them, and at the same time to raise money specifically to encourage research into this disease to try and improve the effectiveness and safety of our treatment modalities. And one of the most positive things that the community can do is, in fact, for people like Rolf and the wonderful work that he is doing to raise awareness, is to, in fact, form this into a more formal structure and have a research foundation which will become an Australia-wide organisation to encourage those three aims.
Yes, in fact, I think we've got the numbers there of people if people would like to. Two Sydney numbers we have. Frank Silk, 02-605-5061 for this Glaucoma Research Foundation. Also, Horace Dargy. Remember the Horace Dargy Quintet music? Well, Horace, that's Horace's number, 046-272-704. Just give you those numbers again. It's a grand idea. And that's the idea. Sorry, Rolf, you're desperate to say something here.
Yes, I would like to point out, I did start already a Glaucoma Research Trust Fund account with the Commonwealth Bank, and I've been hoping to raise $1 million on my trip in aid of research into glaucoma. Now, anybody can write to the Combo Bank in Albury and just mention glaucoma, and all the money, I mean every cent of it, will be only used
To this
for the
foundation.
research of glaucoma. Now for my trip I need sponsors very badly for my own need, but every penny collected goes into research into glaucoma.
All right.
I'd like to point that out.
Well, any potential sponsors or people who are interested in helping you, as they should around the country, will certainly put them in touch with you again.
Thank you very much.
And I guess in a word, Doctor, the answer is, like everything else, go and have a checkup.
Yes.
Have a checkup. I mean, really start worrying at 30 rather than 40?
Well, there's no magic age. The tradition has been once you're over 40, you should be seen by an ophthalmologist perhaps every second year. But in fact, there's no age limit, and people should have their eyes checked, not take them for granted.
All right, we have to leave it there. Rolf Kaiser, we thank you very much. Dr. Ivan Goldberg,
Thank you.
please thank them both very much indeed. And good luck. Good luck. After the break, we'll be back with a song from Peter Roberts. Back in just a moment.